Hello, I'm Regis Sager, and this is my beautiful wife,
Chanel Sager.
and we're wrecked and certified. We're coming back to you today. Welcome back, all you listeners and viewers out there. We want to talk to you today about romance.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, I am a romantic man.
Yes, you are, baby.
Thank you for saying that. There's a little sarcasm there, but I'll take it. But today we want to talk about romance, and they say chivalry is dead, and all that good stuff. I'm kind of an old school kind of guy.
Yes.
I like doing things for my wife, like opening up the door, and no, I haven't run you any bathwater yet. We just have a shower, so I'm off the hook. We just have a shower, right? Okay. So
No bathwater and rose petals or nothing like that.
Exactly. And a matter of fact, I don't think you even like flowers. Not so much. Not a whole lot of roses.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, candy it is, and nice dinners. I think that's a little
Absolutely.
bit. Yeah. There you go. A little perfume here and there.
There you go.
Daddy,
Hey.
Daddy gonna get you right. So So today, a romance. So before we start, I believe we have two different versions.
We do.
I think mine is the right version, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
It will meet in the middle.
Oh, you know what?
meet in the
Hey,
middle, yeah,
it takes
yeah.
two, babe. So let's start off and have you.
I'll start with my version of how we came together.
Okay, well, I'm gonna see if it's right. Go on.
So Regis and I have been married almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in July. And Regis and I have known each other for numerous years. We met at church over 25 plus years. We'll put it like that. 25 plus years that we've known each other.
Hey, I ain't counting. Don't you trying to date me all of a sudden?
I'm
it's like,
dating myself,
Shoot,
though, too.
he's 79. Come on now, why?
So, but yes. So, I've known Regis through various relationships, his past relationships, and mine as well. And we've always been the best of friends. We've always been we in the past we had a brother sister like relationship, best friend kind of relationship. I've seen him through his ups and his downs and his joyous moments and those low moments. But
Exactly.
needless to say, but we through our friendship we came together. It was kind of awkward at first. Our transition from friends to, if you would like to say, lovers. That transition because it started to change, and we were looking for. Well, Regis was looking for more a wife or a spouse, and
I need a helpmate. I need a helpmate. No, seriously. I don't want to interrupt you, but I guess I'm already interrupting you. But
yes, you are.
but you know what, honey? I think during that time, as you tell the story, we both needed something, and I think this. Go ahead and finish your story, but I think there's some roots here that we could talk about. But I'm gonna let you continue here because this is good stuff.
We're
Yeah,
gonna dissect this
yeah.
thing.
Okay, let's dissect this thing. Okay.
So, but needless to say that, we had a foundation. Like I said, we met at church, which was our foundation. We both had commonalities. We both went to the same church, and we had an awesome friendship. So that was the core to our foundation. And from our friendship, we evolved into more than that. We started to look at each other in certain ways as far as, what do you want in a spouse? And we began to break that thing down, and, we started to talk about each other's characteristics and how we handled ourselves, and saying, hey, you know what? I think that you would be a good spouse. You are, Regis would say about me. What'd you say, baby?
I said, this what I said.
What you say, baby?
What I say? No, seriously, I can remember this was in Vancouver, Washington, and I was out on the road.
I remember a phone call.
And we used to call each other at 1 o'clock every single day, or used to call me, or I call you. Mainly, you call me. I remember that.
Because I would be at lunch.
You'd be at lunch, just burning up the brother's phone, just
Yeah.
wanting, a piece of this Kit Kat. No, anyway. So anyway, I had called you, and I had basically said, you know what, this is what I'm looking for, and I put everything on the table.
You did.
I
You
said,
made it very clear.
I said, I'm looking for somebody that with no games. I'm looking for somebody that was honest, that carried themselves like a lady, that was integral, that could just basically I could talk to, somebody that I could just relate to. And I thought that was so important. And we gosh, we talked and talked and talked and talked, which I think in a lot of different relationships, I'm just gonna say this: a lot of them get too physical too soon, and then it clouds.
Bumping and grinding.
Huh? All right. Get you okay. So anyway, millennials and universals or whatever you call, I think if you want some long term in your relationship, and you want to get off to a good foundation, you have to have those critical conversations, or what I call crucial conversations
Those
about
uncomfortable conversations.
about what you want.
And we did. We had a lot of those uncomfortable conversations as far as what we were looking for in each other. And I know one of the things that really stood out with him, and because we both have some trust issues that come from past relationships. And I know that was one of his biggest things is, if he could trust me. And we talked a lot about that, and we talked a lot about finances and whatnot. But anyways, needless to say is that as the relationship evolved and we talked about those things, and another thing was Regis has a thing with how you look. Now, I'm that curvy, voluptuous woman. And,
Praise the Lord.
he wasn't used to them curves. So I wasn't his typical type of woman. And so
I've gotten used to it over the
Yes,
years.
you have.
I've adopted that and all
then
that.
also there was the age factor. Hopefully you don't mind me saying, there's 12 years age difference between us. And so those were, he was looking at those things that were some negatives.
And she doesn't look bad for her age. She doesn't look bad for her age.
And you too.
Being 12 years, younger than I am. I mean, she looks very, very good.
So, but I know that was one of his hangups with me. But, after we moved past those things and we really got into the heart of what we really were looking for in a spouse, then we started talking about, hey, marriage and, a forever thing. And I know a lot of the times when you talk about that forever thing, sometimes it's not always forever. But Regis is like, this is my final straw. This has to be it. He laid it on the line. This has to be it for me. And so, you either roll with that now or you walk. And he made that very clear. He said, if you're not in it for the long haul, then we need to cut our ties.
Yeah, because I was looking for something long term. I mean, so you can put me in the GROND, the ground, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to just be out on the dating scene, just dating all these women and this, that, and the other. That and really, at my age, I want to be settled. I want to know that I got something long term, and we can work on our harmony. We can work on all of those different things that could be potential hiccups, if you will. And I laid it, like you said, out on the table as to this is what you're getting into. Because I have 4 older children, and she had a son, and I was like, you know what?
Oh, that was the other thing.
That was the other thing. I was like,
I had a son.
I'm not looking
And
for
he's
any,
younger, so younger than his children.
yeah, I'm not looking for, to raise someone else's, child. And, that was an impasse for us. And we had to kind of we had
We had to work through that
we had to
thing.
work through.
We still working
Yeah,
on
we
that.
we still working on that, and but that's okay because when you love somebody, you take on all of it. You don't take
Yes.
on part of it. You take on all of it, and I think that's what happens in a lot of relationships now. The romantic part at the beginning, it's the good part. Ooh man, she's this or he's that. We're warming up. We're doing
You
things
always want to
together.
call each other. You always want to hear each
Yeah.
other's voice. You always want to be in each other's presence.
Right, all that, and then the rubber meets the road, and then you're like, man, I didn't realize you had that much luggage, that much baggage. Let's kind of back up, and then the romance starts to fade,
Fizzle.
yeah, fizzle, and then there's no communication, there's no conversation, there's no discussion about that, and then all of a sudden the thing blows up, and then you're off to the next one, and that's what ends up happens to a lot of relationship because one, you talk about the love thing. It's now it's friends with benefits, and it's what can you do for me? We're just kicking
Test
it.
driving.
Yeah, I'm just test driving it like a car. I don't have to put no money down. I can just walk in the
I
lot,
just roll it.
just walk in the lot and say, I'm thinking about getting that Volkswagen, and I want to go around the block a few times. And you're like, nah, didn't work out, and then you
No.
hand back the keys. Well, in a wholesome, in a purest relationship, you can't do that because you have feelings on the line. You have a human being on a line. And just think about it. If you were that other person and they were test driving you, how would you feel?
You wouldn't like it at all.
Yeah, I feel kind of crunchy, right? You
Yeah.
feel like, oh my gosh, I've been taken advantage of. And that's one thing I did not want to do because I respected her as an individual and I respected her as a woman. I did not want to take advantage of her because, like you said, the curve is and the voluptuous and, the beauty, the radiance and all that. I didn't want to take advantage of that because, one, I didn't want that on my conscience. And I felt, and my life, I was over that kind of kitty land kind of stuff where
Yeah.
you just out there kicking it and la 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 la. I was beyond that, and so I wanted to treat you with that, respect.
And with that being said, we talked about marriage. We went through some marriage counseling with our pastor, and then we moved forward. And I think that just you were talking about chivalry and opening up doors and things like that. A lot of people say that that's dead. And that's one of the things that I admire about Regis. He taught me that because I had to really relearn that. Because this day and age, women, sometimes we feel like that, oh, I got my own door, or I can pay for my own meal, or I got my own money, I got this, I got that. But we don't want to be taken care of. We want that, but then we don't want it. And so with that, he would come around to the side and open up the car door for me. And I'd be jumping out the car and stuff. And he would be like, will you stay in the car so I can get the door for you? And he had to teach me those things. And sometimes
I'm still teaching it.
sometimes as women, we have to relearn those things. We have to, when a man wants to romance us and truly take care of us and nurture us, we have to learn how to allow to push back and allow that man to do those things for us.
Yeah, and I think that's important. My version of us is about the same, a little different. I just looked at you from a different perspective because I was forthright with you. I said, you know what, honey. I don't think I even called you honey back
No, you
then.
didn't.
I didn't call you out your name, but I said, you know what, Day? I said, you're not my type.
Yeah, he did. He did tell me
I
that.
told her, I
He
said,
said,
you're not
"I'm
my type. I said, one.
He acted like I was trying to push up on him. No, that wasn't the case.
Well, but I looked at all that and I said, you are you're industrious, you work, you got a lot of skill set, you articulate yourself well, you speak well of others, you speak well of yourself, and all of those different things, etc. And with all those wonderful qualities, I still couldn't see the forest because of the trees. I still could not get out of my old self. And let me speak to the men out there. If you've been in bad relationships and they keep falling apart on you, that means you've got one, you're putting the wrong bait on the hook, because whatever you're getting, it's not working out. And I had to come to that realization. I had a buddy of mine, he lives out in Illinois, and he pulled me to the side. We're in church, and he pulled me out into one of the conference rooms. He's like, "Hey, Rig, let me tell you something, man. I know you kind of talking with Day or whatever, but let me just break it down to you, man. She's a good woman, and you need to treat it on that level. You need to make sure you wrap your head around this right, so you don't mess this thing up." And he gave me some really good words of wisdom, opposed to just, "Oh, we just gonna go kicking it because I just came out of a bad relationship. Rebound," that kind of a deal. It was not that at all, because I had to realize that I had something in front of me that I had to value. And when you put value on something, what do? You take care of it.
Yes.
When you don't put value on something, that's why when you go into certain neighborhoods, you look at houses and you see some that are just gorgeous. The
Yard
lawn
is immaculate.
The lawn is immaculate. The
Yes.
paint on the house is
Porch all
it's
decorated, all
nice.
nice.
Exactly. You got everything going for you, and you're like, man, they really value their property. And then 2 doors down, you look at it, and it looks like it
Raggedy.
run down in the same neighborhood. And it's the same thing with our relationships. If we don't esteem one another and value one another, it's amazing how I can look at somebody and they go, "Yeah, we've been married for 40 years or 35 years or 25 years." And it's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys look so good," because they take care of each other.
Yes.
They
Compliment
value
each other.
one another. They look out for each other. And the thing about it is, like, she was right, and I'm still opening doors to this day. And you know what? My right shoulder, I don't know if it's got a rotator cuff issue, but I'm still opening up those doors, and I don't mind doing it because she's worth it. But I can recall, like she said, there was a couple times where I was like, you know what? I wanna make sure that I'm looking out for you and opening up your door. If you gonna open up the door, then hey, chivalry is dead. But
Yeah, yeah.
but she allowed me to do that.
But to that point, it also teaches my son to see those things. It's an example for my son to see, hey, not that his father's not teaching him those things, but to see it from our perspective, from our relationship, how you handle me and how you treat me. He has an example, numerous examples of how to treat a woman. And Regis has also taught, my son, hey, get your car door for your mother. So, that he knows how to treat and handle a woman when he's that time no time soon, when he comes to that time where he knows how to treat a woman as well.
Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, everybody has varying views on relationship, and like I said, this is our story, from our perspective. And
Absolutely.
You may disagree. Hey, you're all independent. That's fine, etc. And
Keep paying for that meal.
Exactly. Keep getting that door. Tear up your own rotator cuff. You know what I'm saying? Right here. But I just look at it, that our relationship is valued because we add value to it. We add value to it because the way we treat each other, the way we talk to each other. Just this happened the other night. So we had a little garage door issue at the house where I walked out in the garage and I said, "Why is all this white stuff on top of the car? What's going on?" And so I'm trying to figure it out. So I go get Captain, because she's the DIY in our household. I don't do anything when it comes to nailing, hanging. That's not my pedigree. Now I can fold a shirt. I can cook a meal.
Yes, he can.
I have to still have to figure
But
out
if
the
it comes
washer
to
and dryer.
fixing?
Come to fixing stuff, I'm gonna call the
That's
handyman. She's the handy person in our family. But nonetheless, getting back to the garage door incident, there was a bunch of debris coming down every time the garage door would go up, and it would just cover the top of the car, and it scratches up the car. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? So she comes out and she goes, "Honey, I think I know what it is." So I'm on top of my car, the other car, looking up. She's like, "Watch your head, because I'm gonna take the garage door up." And I was like, "Okay, fine." So I'm watching my head. I'm ducking down, trying to move so I don't get decapitated. And so she was like, "It's over here." And I'm looking to the right. And she was like, "Honey, I said it's over here. You're not listening to me." And, and I'm like, honey, I'm listening to you. I'm just looking, to the right just to see where the fault line is, where the issue is. She's like, I told you it's over here. And I was like, okay, honey, I'm looking to the left and I understand now. And so, because I never raise my voice.
No, he doesn't.
I don't raise my voice
No,
to
he
her
does
because
not.
I'm like, when you start going down that alley, then you start the path of disrespect, and then you start the path of
I'm still a work in
miscommunication.
progress.
Yeah, I mean,
I
she'll
get a little elevated at times.
she'll get a little steam under the collar and go there, but that's okay because we're still learning
Yes.
each other in our short history of time together, as far as in a marital sense. But I'm looking
Pray
at her.
for me.
Yeah, all every day.
Every day.
So, but I look at this, romance. Let's get back to that. We kind of went down the rabbit hole and all that other stuff, etc. So, what is romance? A feeling of excitement and mystery associated with love. That's what the dictionary says. And I think sometimes we discount the love part because we think love is a lot of things, but love is work.
It is.
In all of my relationships that I've been with, I was always the work. I was always looked at as the work in progress, and because of my past, and I was in a very rocky family environment with my mother and father. Like I said, God rest their souls; they're deceased now, but a lot of fighting, a lot of physical abuse, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought, in my mind, I thought love was this: get the door, like I do for you now, pay the bills. Thank God I'm paying the bills. And, we go out for a dinner here and there. But I did not know that love was understanding. Love was keep your mouth shut and listen. I didn't realize that love was sacrifice, compromise. I didn't realize that, I thought love was it's my way or no way. And unfortunately, I had a whole lot of no way. And so when I began to mature and start looking at things from a more holistic and a more totality point of view, the umbrella point of view, I started realizing that love encompassed a lot of different things. And it wasn't just those things that I was doing, and it wasn't just the physical thing, but it was about understanding not only myself, but really trying to get an understanding of that individual, and the spouse. Because so oftentimes as men, we discount. It's like, look, I'm paying the bills up in this Jimmy, and I'm doing this. And then all of a sudden we take that dogma mentality, and then we look at the wife like, hey, look, you know what, you do as I say, not as I do, and all this other dumb stuff. And what it does, it really breaks down the fibers of the relationship.
Also, I was going to put to that, babe, is love is patient. Sometimes you have to be patient and tolerant with your spouse. And with that being said, I know that I'm slow. I'm like a tortoise when I get dressed. I have to make sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed before I leave the house. And so Regis is one of those, get ready real fast. I'm done. Are you ready? No, I don't do like that. But that in itself can cause conflict. But one of the things is being patient with your spouse in all areas, whether it be in financial. We'll get to that. Who's the spender? Your spouse may be the spender. You have to be patient with them as far as their health may be deteriorating. And you have to be patient with that.
Yeah, and that's
You have to
something
learn
that I had to learn because I can become very impatient with a lot of different things in my life, and it would just frustrate me. I'd be sitting out in the car and I'm like, man, we said we want to be there and we need to get on there. And she's still up there, getting, every whatever that is, you just getting together. And I would be like, man, come on, let's go. I mean, we trying to get somewhere, but I had to learn. So now when we're in that mode and we're trying to get somewhere, she's got to start probably, 24 hours I know when we go on vacation, she packs like 2 weeks in advance. I will pack either the day of or the night before, and I'm like ready. She's in the closet getting this outfit, getting that purse, that pair of shoes, and I get all that now because that's her makeup, and I have to love her for that. And then in my episodic situations where I'm trying to boom, 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 she's got to understand that, hey, look, Regis is trying to get to his obligation or get to where he needs to be. I've got to kind of like, be on board with that. So there's compromise on both sides of the track. But as far as romance is concerned, I think that is something that every individual has to define that for their relationship,
Yes.
what that looks like. Because you read all these different books out there and they're going to go, oh yeah, if you do A, B, C, D, E, and F, and G, it's a win. It's
Yeah.
put your
Yeah.
money in the middle of the table. It's a win. That's not necessarily true because we're all made up differently from our experiences, our personality, our traits, our characteristics, the way we process information. All of those
Our
different things, our
backgrounds.
backgrounds, all of that is attributable to how we're going to relate with that individual. And so when Day and I got together, I'm like, she is totally different from my past relationship. So I can't just, hustle and bustle and go, yeah, we're going to do it this way, girl. And da, da, da. It didn't work that way. Because like you indicated, babe, it would have caused conflict.
Yes, yes. And also on the realm of romance, I know that on the male perspective, romance is sex. That's not just the whole thing.
You
to
mean, you,
it. Hush
you
your mouth.
okay. I thought that was romance.
But it's a lot of things leading up to it. One is how you handle and how you talk to a woman. It starts from the time you wake up to the time that you go to bed. Whether you're talking to her right. If you done mishandled her all day long, no, homeboy, don't think that it's going down at night.
Ain't no constellation
No,
fireworks.
no, no.
None-
Mm-mm. You ain't getting
oh.
none of that. So if you've mishandled her, you mistreated her, but treat her how you want to be treated. Treat her how you want to be handled. If you want to speak kind words, call her throughout the day. Sometimes we get into this thing, and some people, we talk about love languages. I know there's the book about the love languages. And some people's love languages are affirmations. Some people's love languages are gifts. Some love languages are, baby, did you fold the clothes? Baby, did you wash the dishes? That's me. Hey. But I mean, just those little things to lead up to those areas. If you want to know your spouse's love language, and then that's where it leads to romance.
Yeah, because I can recall we had just moved into a new place and you were having a garage sale. And I said, my wife's up. She's got the tables out and I had to be somewhere. Otherwise, I would have helped you or at least supervised you. But anyway, so I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to run to Starbucks and pick her up some coffee. And then I know you like going to the farmer's market and you like to have fresh flowers in the house. And so I ran down. I said, I'll go to Starbucks. Whoa, swung over there. And then I shoo, right down the hill to Puyallup. And then I grabbed, 2 big bouquets of flowers and I ran them up the hill. And I'm flying up the hill because I had to be somewhere. And I come in and I said, hey, babe, I got you some flowers and some Starbucks coffee. And you were like, put them in the sink.
No, I was fussing earlier that day. He's not telling the story right.
That was my version.
I was fussing earlier on that day because I
was trying to give you a pass.
I was trying to get things together and I wanted him to help, but I understood that he had to get out the door and do some things. But when I saw that he brought me the coffee and the flowers, my whole perspective on the whole situation changed. And it comes back to forgiveness. We talked about apologizing and forgiveness earlier. And when I saw that he brought me the coffee and the flowers, I knew that, hey, I was in the wrong and I mishandled you. I talked to you rough on that day and I apologized to him. And I said, hey, you know what, baby? I know that I talked to you rough. I apologize, and what you did was very, very sweet.
Yeah, because she roughed her brother up. 'Cause after I dropped off the bouquet and put him in the kitchen and the sink and then the coffee, man, I was a wounded duck. I was driving down. I don't know how long it took me to get to my obligation because I was just like hurt. And I was like,
You got
man,
over it.
I did. But things like that sometimes we discount. And like you said, when we talk to each other rough and we mishandle one another, and then at the end of the night, whoever is feeling like, hey, it's time to go see
Little
the
frisky.
stars, a little frisky, you know what I'm saying? And you want to go there, it ain't happening because we've mishandled one another. And sometimes in the heat of the battle and heat of the moment when we're trying to get things done for whatever reason, sometimes we discount that. We just go, oh gosh, in the heat of the moment, I didn't even realize that. And so
That I was
me
talking
as
to you,
a
right?
as a husband, I didn't come in like, man, shoot, earlier today you handled the brother wrong. What's up with I didn't go there. I just said, hey, she's trying to get everything done and blah 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 blah, and it was all good. And I think that night we did go. But anyway, so all of that comes along with a being romantic.
Yes.
It's how we treat each other, not at 10:30 or 9:30 in the evening, but 9:30, 8:30 in the morning, which leads up to that because there's that crescendo. There's that you ain't gonna have that crescendo of you handling each other wrong
Mistreating each other.
Yeah, mistreating each other, and so that's a part of it. So our story was just a quick recap. As far as how we met, yeah, we have a long history with each other. We've known each other for a long time, 25 plus years. We started getting serious after we both had some really rough relationships. I put the plural end on my relationships. Hers was just relationship. And it was one of those situations. So as we recap everything, the romantic part of our relationship early on, it wasn't all that romantic. It was,
it really wasn't.
it was just like, hey, here's the rawness of me, and this is what I'm all about. I've been through a ton of relationships that have gone diabolically wrong for whatever reason. I'll put my hand up. I'm the guilty one. I'll take all of the stingrays. I'll take everything on my watch. But this is who I am. And so we got to know each other based on our misfortunes and our bad circumstances. And we were able to evolve from those things by being totally transparent and totally honest with one another.
Yes. And that's the thing. You have to be totally transparent. You have to lay things out on the line. And like we said earlier, you have to talk about those uncomfortable things and don't hold anything back because those things can arise and become issues later on.
Oh, they will. Trust me, they will. So I try to put everything on the table. So as we wrap up today, hopefully you've learned something. We've shared something with you. And like I said, your story is going to be uniquely different from ours. However, based on our experiences, we're hoping that we can impart some things to you that maybe you can take some little tidbits and apply it to your situations to make it even that much better. So with that being said, we are Wrecked and Certified. Stay tuned.